ahead and start. So I'm Cassie Viella. I'm a realtor, property manager, and investor here in San Antonio, Texas. On my channel, we talk about all things real estate, from data and investing to home and garden. So if that's your cup of tea, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, whatever. And we're going to jump right into the video today. So I'm doing the first ever live market update. Not planned, but out of necessity. I was on vacation and I just got back and I realized, oh my gosh, I haven't done a March market update. And I know that those are the videos that people tend to like the most. So I thought, okay, I'll just do one live. Don't have time to edit and everything like that. So we're trying this out. The benefit of doing it live is that you could ask questions in the chat. So if you see something that you kind of have a question about, then make sure you go ahead and ask your question. And at the end, I will try to look at those. So market update for March. We're going to start out like we always do. We have really good news. Cases are low. We're talking about COVID, of course. Cases are low. The rate is steady. 0 new deaths. Great news. Pretty low new cases, low ICU patients. So all of that is really good. Hopefully that continues as we go into spring and people are outside more. Hopefully that continues to stay low. So showings per week. So I'm going to remind you that the blue line is 2020, red line is 2022, and the yellow line is the red line's 2021, the yellow line's 2022. Each year, so you'll notice that it says starter home sales. So the point of this graph at the beginning was we were looking at, okay, if you're jumping into the market or if you're an investor and you're looking for a rental property, what is the range that you'd be buying a home in? And so when I started this 3 years ago, wow, that was 100 to 200,000 was kind of the range. But as you probably know, San Antonio has just exploded, as has the rest of the country. Prices have gone up a whole lot. So to try to keep this graph consistent, I have raised that each year. And now prices are going up so high, I don't even know if that's going to work, frankly. Like we may have to just bump it up even a little bit more. We will see. Of course, that dip from last year was the freeze. So of course, 2022, we had higher showings throughout February. No freeze. The dip in 2020 on the blue line was when COVID started and nobody was going anywhere. So it is a little concerning to me that in 2022, in March, showings have gone down so much. But one of the things that I suspect is that there are fewer homes in this price range, in the under $250,000 price range. So of course, if you have fewer homes on the market, you're going to have fewer showings, obviously. I also think that in that price range, what we're seeing a lot of right now is buyers who are representing, like hedge funds, representing these huge corporations who are just buying these homes, usually sight unseen. And so they're not actually going to look at the home. They're not scheduling showings. They're just buying homes. And so maybe there are lower showings as well because these homes are getting snatched up before people can even go look at them. Which is a scary thought if you are a new home buyer, and I don't like where it's going, but I'm just reporting the news. Rental showings per week, pretty consistent over the past month, a little bit lower than we were this time last year. We'll see if that starts to increase as we get into spring when more people are moving. Weekly home sales pretty much tracking this time last year. And median price, as we expect, like I just said, it's been, appreciating so rapidly. We're seeing, 20% depreciation year over year. So you can really see that in these three lines, that just each year there's this huge gap for the next median price. And it's not slowing down anytime soon. Median sales price, we had a slight dip in January, but we're already on the rebound from that. And when we say a slight dip, just a few $1,000s there in the median price. But I like to include the median sales price over the last decade to really put that in perspective. So you can see that normally in January, there's a pretty significant dip. There's like this slowdown going into the winter season. And then as we go into February, March, there's a pickup, right? So actually, you can see that this past year is the least, since 2020, we really haven't had that much of a winter dip. Maybe a little slight one in January, but nowhere near like what we've seen previous years. It's pretty much remained steady through the winter season. So new listings by price range. Now, I do want to point something out here. If you are somebody who has watched my market updates over the past few years, so I get this data, these graphs that have like the multicolored lines, I get them from Showing Time. It shows that down at the bottom. So Showing Time is, a company that we schedule showings through, but they also have a lot of reports. They have a lot of data that they provide to us. And they have presets. These lines, the different colors that I can break them out into, they have a preset field. And I usually just go with that, right? And over the past few years, that preset has been lower. So if you go to my last, my February market update, and you pull up this exact chart, you're going to see that the blue line, that lowest price range represented on the chart, is actually at $165 or less, $165,000 or less. So Showing Time has looked at the data and said, you know what, we need to raise this. Prices have gone up in San Antonio such that at this point, 190 and below is represented by that lowest, almost, very few homes on that blue line. That starter range, that green line, is now 190 to 255,000. So everything's gone up just a bit, just about 25,000 actually. So I was really, obviously I'm not real surprised to see that, but it is like, kind of worrisome that they are, showing us that the prices are going up a lot, and we have to reflect that in the data. So I just thought that was interesting. As you can see, listings are going up a little bit in February, as you would expect. We're going to kind of start to go into that spring season. But on this next slide, so I just said listings went up a bit, but homes for sale went down. When that happens, when you have more listings but fewer homes in the market, what that means is that those listings are getting purchased really quickly. So it's not actually, there aren't more homes available because they're just getting bought up so quickly. And we have, again, the new listings over the last decade. So you can kind of see that we are in a very predictable trend of kind of bouncing back up after the January low. And then total homes for sale over the last decade. Again, I include this just to kind of show how shocking our current level of homes for sale actually is. So you can see there that normally over the past decade, we have about 9,000 homes on the market at any given point. We're now under 4,000 homes on the market. And we're not even to the, wild part of the market yet. So we have very few homes for sale That doesn't mean homes aren't getting sold. That just means they're getting sold so quickly, they're not staying on the market. And my evidence for that is the next couple of slides. So I've got pending sales. Pending sales are slightly up from last month, definitely up from December, which obviously December's holiday season. And then closed sales are up. So we always kind of have a low January for closed sales because, again, when a sale closes, that's generally about a month after it went under contract. So if December is a month that's slow because everybody's out of town or doing holidays, then January is going to have few closed sales. But that is bouncing back up. February is already starting, and I just predict that March will just continue to go higher. So median days on market, you can see that, we had the wild summer season this past year where it got down to like 15 days on market at some points, but now we were kind of climbing back up being, oh my gosh, 27 days on market. Wow. But we're already falling again in February. So we're already back down under 25 days on market in most cases. And it's pretty early for us to already be seeing the days on market decreasing. It's pretty early in the spring season. So, to me, that says that it's going to be kind of a wild market this spring. I know nobody's surprised by that, right? Median price per square foot, of course, the median price is going up. That means the price per square foot is also going up. You can see that in basically all of the home prices, every range, prices are going up. The blue line, the blue line's included because, it kind of needs to be to represent all of the data. But just keep in mind that generally the blue line is going to be homes that have some kind of problem, like they're being purchased by cash investors usually because something is wrong with them. So we don't really look at the blue line as an indicator of like the health of the market or a reliable like days on market or price per square foot or something. We really want to look at the overall, and especially for San Antonio, that green and that teal line. Those are like the bulk of the homes on the market are represented with those lines. Percent of last list price, we're still right at 100%. I do predict that will start to go up as we go into spring season because we're already seeing people bidding well over asking price, especially in that like under $250,000 range. Like I mentioned with, the hedge funds and lots of investors in the game. So I do predict that we will start to see maybe as early as April, that median percent of last list price going above 100 again. Month supply of homes for sale. So, a balanced market would be 6 months. If we had 6 months supply, we would say that's neither a seller or a buyer's market. Obviously, for that, like that green line, that's your starter home, 190 to 255,000. We have 0.7 months of inventory. I mean, just almost nothing. And I don't see that going up very much, even as we go into the spring and summer seasons where we are going to have more homes hitting the market because, again, they're just going to be bought up so quickly. Alrighty, so February single-family home sales. Now, this data is from SABRE. Everybody has access to it. SABRE meaning the San Antonio Board of Realtors. You can go on their website, go to market statistics, and there is a document there that has all of the info. I only include single-family home, multifamily, and rentals, but they also have condominiums, townhomes, raw land, other types of property that you could buy. So single-family homes, we saw a 9% increase in February. Now, I do want to point out here that last February was the freeze, and a lot of homes a lot of closings got delayed out of February because of the freeze. So 9% increase, maybe, but more likely last year was just low because of the freeze. Now, prices, on the other hand, have definitely gone up. So you see the median price, a 20% increase, to where in 2022, February, a single family home median price was $314,000 in San Antonio. The average was $361,889. I typically favor the median because average can really be skewed by like some of the really high priced, $1 million plus homes. So I think the median is generally a better measure of where we are. And so you can see 20% increase year over year. That's where we are. That's where we have been for the last several months. And I just don't see anything slowing down. Days on market, 38 days on market right now. That's February 2022. Last year, 2021, was 52 days on market, so a 27% decrease. You saw the days on market chart and how low everything is right now, so that shouldn't be a surprise. Multifamily sales about the same. One thing I'll point out, 33 multifamily sales in February. So if you think back to single family home sales was almost 3,000. And so when I have somebody call who says, I really want to buy a multifamily property, maybe a duplex, live in one side, rent out the other, it's a great plan, but we just don't have that many in San Antonio. So that's a good, 30 multifamily properties versus 3,000 single family homes. So that's your odds when you're trying to go for a multifamily. Is it impossible? No. But the supply is not there. So multifamily prices have increased, of course. Again, it's harder to do prices with multifamily because that includes duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. So obviously a fourplex is going to be a lot more. So that can kind of skew the numbers. But moving on to residential rental for February, 18% increase in units rented. Again, I want to point out the freeze was last year, so really probably not that much of an increase. It was just that the freeze happened. But there is an 11% increase in the rent price. So the average rent price February 2022 is $1,755, so $1,750 plus. Last year it was $1,583. So we are seeing rents start to really climb as home prices climb, obviously, and also as property taxes climb, because if we have 20% appreciation, then when everybody gets their tax bill from BCAD this month, it's going to be, their tax bill's going up. So rents are going to go up as well. So just keep that in mind. As you see appreciation, we're also going to see rent prices increase pretty consistently as well. Okay, so this data is from Independence Title. Again, anybody can see this data. It's on their website. Just go to Independence Title, go to San Antonio, and go to their tools and resources, and you'll be able to find it. Sales price, I like to include it because it's the last 5 years, and you can really just see how dramatically the prices have jumped. From 2020 to 2021, there's a huge jump. And then from 2021 to 2022, there's a huge jump. And so, that just really shows you how drastically the prices have risen and how quickly they've risen. Okay, sales volume, kind of same story. I will say that here the increases aren't necessarily that more properties are being sold as much as the prices go up, then the sales volume is higher because the prices are higher. Months of inventory, again, you can see just this big drop. We back in 2018, 2019, we had 3 to 4 months of inventory. And then as soon as we hit, 2020 and the market took off, we're back down to 1 month of inventory. And then the number of sales is pretty consistent, a little bit higher than in previous years for this time of year, but you know, not a huge jump. We're seeing about the same number of sales, just the prices are so much higher. And then here's your average sales price. Again, not as reliable as the median sales price, but it's there for you. Okay, so I hope that that was helpful. You know, basically, I feel like I say the same thing every month at this point, that the market just keeps getting hotter. It's looking like this spring and summer season is going to be even hotter than it was last year, if you can even believe that, because last year was just unprecedented. So, you know, if you're a seller, that's great news for you. It's going to be pretty easy to sell your home. And, you know, you should get a pretty high price for it. You know, as long as there aren't any issues with it. If you're a buyer, that's not great news for you. You're really competing against cash buyers anywhere under, at this point, I would say even up to 300,000. You're just competing with some really deep pockets. And so it's really hard out there for especially first-time home buyers. So I don't have any good news to report if you are a buyer. And if you are an investor, you know, unless you're a hedge fund investor and you have the deep pockets and you don't care about your ROI in the next couple years, if you're a regular real estate investor, it's going to be rough right now to find a rental property. However, it is a good market to flip if you do flips because, you know, prices continue to go up. 20% appreciation year over year, you know, is a good flipping market. So I hope that was helpful. Definitely ask any questions in the comments. Let me know if there's any other data you know of that you think might be helpful to include. If you disagree with anything I said, or if you have any other input, I'd love to hear it. Again, please like, follow, subscribe, all the things. It helps a lot. I really appreciate you, and I will see you next time.